Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all here this morning to the City UK's Autumn Debate, which we've entitled the EU Strategy in a Global Context, Creating a Policy Framework for Growth. I'm particularly grateful to Willis for hosting us here today in their magnificent offices, here in the heart of the city. And I know that the CEO of Willis, Joe Plumeri, prides himself on the company's ability to offer what he calls a glocal service. That is the expertise of a global business delivered to local communities wherever they happen to be. And I think actually that glocal spirit encapsulates what's best about this city. Our ability to bring the best people together to deliver world-class services to global and local businesses across the UK, across Europe, and across the world. And that business capability, the financial services, is actually delivered throughout the UK. So while I could talk about the City of London being not just an integral part of the UK's economy, but as the leading financial centre in Europe, it does have a pivotal role in powering business across Europe and across the world. And against a backdrop of multiple crises, I think we could now say, in European politics and economy, we have a unique opportunity to consider the role that financial services should play in the recovery. I think given the plethora of still more changes that financial and professional services are facing in the UK, new rules perhaps for audit firms, MiFID again, a possible financial transaction tax, it's also, I think, worth considering the impact these will have on European citizens and businesses. In my view, it remains an open question as to whether those changes we are seeing will support or detract from wider public policy goals across Europe, including, as I say, the jobs and growth agenda. Much has been said about rebalancing the economy, but I think given the recent growth figures demonstrating the strength of UK services in supporting recovery, I'll be interested to hear from our speakers on whether they think the debate around rebalancing is actually now the correct focus. Equally, as the City UK has been doing since its inception, we need to restore the reputation of financial services among the public, our customers, to prove that we are part of society and not apart from society. Many, I'm sure, will comment today on this. But we have always to consider how to be part of society and how our decisions and how we run our businesses will be seen by the public. Before I give you a brief outline of today's programme, just a couple of housekeeping matters which I'd like to point out. The first, please, is could you turn off your mobile phones? It's actually a good idea because there's no reception here anyway, so you're just running down your batteries. But if you could, just in case they work. There is, I'm assured, no fire alarm test planned for today. So if you do hear a fire alarm, then you should move in the indicated directions as to how you would leave the building. So barring any fire, we're going to have an exciting lineup of speeches and panels today. So just a few brief comments from me. In the first session of this conference, we'll be hearing from the chairman of Chatham House, Deanne Julius, who will give us the context for the day's debates with an overview of the economic situation in Europe and that which Europe is facing. Next, Dr. Kay Swinburne, MEP, the Conservative coordinator of the Economic and Monetary Affairs Committee in Europe, and I'm delighted that someone quite so close to the debate is able to provide their input and their insight into what is actually happening in the European Parliament around the European 2020 growth agenda. As our third speaker, we are particularly honoured to have with us Her Excellency Anne Hedenstedt Stephensen, the Danish ambassador, who will share the Danish perspective on the role of regulation in economic growth. And it's particularly apposite to have the ambassador with us because from, as you know, from the 1st of January, Denmark will assume the rotating presidency of the Council of the EU. and to speak about the role of the UK government in shaping the European regulatory agenda. We're going to hear from Michael Fallon, MP. That is, I'm told, contingent on his being released, that sounds a bit impressive, from number 10, where he is currently in a meeting. But I hope he's been able to impress the Prime Minister that it's more important to be here. If I start singing and dancing at about the time he's meant to be here, you'll know he hasn't quite yet arrived. Rounding off the first session of the day, we'll have a really exciting high-level panel on the impact on customers from changes to financial regulation. And each of our panels today will begin with an introduction from the chair, who will invite panelists to make a brief statement and then open the debate to questions from the floor. The first panel will be chaired by Sir Win Bischoff, the chairman of Lloyds Banking Group, and of course, more importantly, the chairman of the City UK's Advisory Council. That will be followed by a coffee break, two further panels, the first chaired by the Financial Times chief regulation correspondent Brooke Masters, and after that by Stuart Fraser, chairman of the City of London Corporations Policy and Resources Committee, and of course, deputy chairman of the City UK. And then Chris Leslie, MP, Shadow Financial Secretary to the Treasury, will bring the Labour Party's perspective to bear on financial regulatory reform. And our final speaker will be Chris Cummings, who will reflect on the day's discussion and outline the results of an exciting bit of research the City UK has undertaken with real economy businesses across Europe. So a truly great, indeed stellar lineup of speakers you'll be hearing from this morning, and I'm delighted that the City UK has been able to bring together these people. As you know, the City UK exists to explain, to promote UK financial and related professional services, and this conference is one of many opportunities throughout the year where we try to bring together key policymakers, practitioners, civil society leaders to discuss the future of this industry throughout the UK, throughout Europe. But my final point would be to say, to make this an effective debate, I really would call on each of you to make the most of the opportunity to question and engage with the speakers during the opportunities we have for a question and answer session. There will be microphones available, and if you could introduce yourself before posing your question, that would be very useful. So thank you for that participation. Thank you for being here today. It's critically important to the effectiveness of the City UK that we hear from you as to what you want us to do.